I'm Louise Baker-Martins, clinical psychologist, and this is the second video in a short series that I've made on how we look after our sleep during Covid-19. So this video is thinking about how we continue to provide some structure to our sleep so that it has the best chance of working well for us, so that we fall asleep relatively easily and we maintain sleep throughout the night. So first of all, acknowledging that for many of you there's probably more variability in your sleep-wake cycle than ever before, whether you're adjusting to working from home, whether you are finding out your working patterns on a that they're shifting around on a regular basis, that there are increased demands on you. Some of these guidelines may feel difficult to implement, but as best you can, just taking on board the general principles, and if there are any small tweaks that you can make, they may be valuable. So first of all, just very briefly, there are two processes in the brain that bring about sleep, and one is related to your sleep drive. So that is how sleepy you feel at the end of the day, and as a result of how long you've been awake and how long a chemical has been building up in the brain to bring about that feeling of sleepiness. So it's the sleep debt that you acquire over the course of the day. And unless you drink too much caffeine or you have a nap later on in the evening, that's going to be a similar sort of time in the evening for you on a regular basis that you reach that point where you feel sleepy. The second process is your sleep rhythm, and that is a circadian rhythm related to your sort of patterns of alertness and sleepiness during the day. Now those two processes are independent, but they're both sort of working together, if you like, to bring about that sweet spot for sleep, which is different for everybody, but that's the time when you are most likely to fall asleep well and to stay asleep. So how can we support the sleep system to do that for us, to stay in sync together? And the first thing is to maintain as best you can a regular get-up time in the morning. So it's your first thing to always be mindful of, and it can be tempting to extend a lie-in on certain days of the week and not others and what have you, but to support the sleep system to work as best you can, keep the same time to get up in the morning. And then on the other side of things, a consistent bedtime as best you can as well. So I talked about in the last video the importance of not getting into bed when you're in that tired but wired state. So there's some flexibility with that. If you need a longer wind down, you need to rest for longer into the evening, that's fine. Push your bedtime back on those days, but just being mindful as possible that the frame in general is important to be keeping. So again, not letting work life spill on on some nights really far into the night, and then other nights you're trying to find your new bedtime. Try and keep that rhythm. And it can be very common that people very easily get into habits of bringing their sleep rhythm and their sleep drive out of sync. So if they've had a really exhausting day at work, sleep drive is going to be high, and you might come home in the evening, have a glass or two of wine, crash out in front of the television, fall into sleep, and then half an hour later you're woken up, you take yourself off to bed and you can't sleep again, or you fall asleep and you're waking up through the night, whatever happens for you. And what's happened there is your sleep drive is high and your sleep rhythm wasn't in sync. It wasn't ready for you to be kind of initiating sleep for the duration of your nighttime period. So just being thoughtful about, in that situation like that, can you get up, go and do some low level activity, go into the kitchen, do something, just keeping yourself awake to near a bedtime, and then experiencing better quality sleep for having done that. The exceptions to that, of course, if you're unwell, if your body's really telling you that you need the extra sleep, then of course you may need an hour or two more than you would typically. But keep the frame for sleep, and within that as well, being mindful of other things that help the sleep-wake cycle. So regular exercise during the day and not close to bedtime. Getting exposure to natural light is also really important, and healthy eating. So just bringing more attention to your day and night patterns and schedule and how you can support them.